I'm Becky.
And I'm Mickey, and here we are with another week of Inglorious reviews.
Yep. Alright, so let's start with the Flash this week. Flash episode 105, called Plastique.
Yep.
It was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Felt like it was a bit of a bump up, a little bit, because I felt like they were starting into a bit of a freak of the week sort of, and she kind of is.
She's kind of a freak, but it's like they didn't feel like, hey, look, you're a freak, we're going to put you away.
Yeah.
For in the, whatever they call the tunnel.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so this episode, there was this girl named, they called her Plastique. This girl named Bet Sansusi. And she was a soldier who specialized in working in, destabilizing bombs.
Bomb diffusion.
Yeah, yes. And she got shrapnel embedded her during an explosion. She was floating stateside. She was there, and she was recovering, because she had some shrapnel in her. She was recovering in a hospital, then had the explosion, and the shrapnel fused with her, and now everything she touches becomes a bomb.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was an interesting idea. Okay, the thing is, though, this whole thing, she wasn't a bad guy. She didn't want to kill someone. She was angry because General Eiling, this local military guy, found out what she was, and she used her as a lab rat for like months. And she was furious, and part of her really wanted to kill him. At the same time, she wasn't a bad guy. She wasn't a killer. No. And so there was this whole conundrum where, like, okay, she's not a bad guy, but you can't lock her up in Star Labs like, the other few people. But at the same time, she's too dangerous to join the team or really be around people. So there was this whole, like, conundrum about what they were going to do. Because, it really wouldn't be right to lock her up or, do any things, like, they would want to do without justification. Mm-hmm. But, so they can figure out what to do. But they didn't have to do it because they killed her at the end of the show.
Which at the end of the episode. Which was kind of disappointing.
Which was a bit of a cop-out. So, woohoo, they didn't have to, deal with that.
I mean, I guess they could have let her walk off the same way they allowed Captain Code to do it. You're like, oh, see ya. You just go to another town. Go to Sterling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun over there.
Yeah, you're Arrow's problem now.
Blow up some buildings. See what he does about it.
Yeah. So that was good. But it was a good episode. They still can't seem to figure out what to do with Iris.
Yeah, Iris is kind of just like hanging out. Not doing too much. I think they're trying to push the love interest thing again.
So there was this
what's his name? The detective is like, hey, I know it's there. Mm-hmm. Why don't you tell her? And he's all like, well, can't really.
Yeah.
And she has that huge fascination. So I wonder if he's going to tell her. Like, next few episodes.
Probably soon. Because, like, okay, there was this really nice, like, scene where Barry goes to Iris and, tells her to stop writing about him to keep her safe. And I could, actually, in that moment, see a little bit of romantic tension between them. I haven't been able to really feel the chemistry between the two characters, like, the whole series. But I was a little bit able to, during that scene. Though, later on when he was talking to Kaylin, I was like, oh, well, there's a lot of chemistry there, too. So I don't know what to think. But really, Iris is a problem right now. They really need to figure out what they're going to do with her.
Yeah, she's in limbo.
I mean, by keeping her away from the main plot, very Lois Lane-esque, decision, they're keeping her a lot out of it. And, like in Smallville, Lana never found out, like, forever what was going on.
Yeah.
And, it worked because that show moved really, slowly in terms of plot. But this show is moving really, really quickly trying to establish things because the shows as a whole, especially these superhero shows, serialized sort of super shows, they move so quickly now. So with all this stuff going on and, like, her not being able to, find out, without her not knowing what's going on, it's a real problem for her, as a character.
Yeah, she may, and if they don't do anything with this, she may just end up being in limbo like Roy was.
Oh, yeah.
For a bit in the Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
So, depending on what they choose to do with the next couple episodes will determine if she has any more play or she becomes a sideline character, maybe leaves. Which I don't think they'll do, though. Not the way she's supposed to be portrayed.
Yeah.
I think they're going to push it where Alan says something to her, and she realizes it and
yeah,
goes from there.
I don't know. We'll see. the thing is, though, Lois Lane, like, I know Iris is a lot like Lois Lane. She becomes a journalist or whatever. Well, the thing is, though, like, the Daily Planet was a really good plot device for, things to happen. In Superman, that's where you found out a lot of information. That's, gave you a reason for people to go to, like, different events where things would happen. But the thing is, like, does Iris join the paper or whatever?
Well, she's a blog writer.
Well, yeah, she
may join the newspaper eventually.
Yeah, but in today's world, that's not really a good way for her to, get involved in stuff.
I guess many bloggers become part of bigger, organizations and such.
Yeah.
I think they may be leading up to making her a target and going from there.
Yeah.
Because we see it in the promo episode for next week.
Yeah.
She becomes basically a hostage for Metal Man.
Of course. Yeah, so what do you think of his decision, of Barry's decision to stay away from Iris for a while?
I mean, I don't know what he's trying to accomplish with that. I don't know how they can stay away from each other, really.
Yeah.
Because they live in the same town.
Mm-hmm.
They have the connection with her dad. Is he trying to, get the feelings out of his head, which have been there for years? Or is he trying to make it so she gets bored with the streak?
No, I don't think it's that. I think, well, maybe he is trying to get the feelings out of his head.
I think that may be...
Get away from her, because it hurts him that she might, he has these big feelings that he can't do anything about.
Distracts him from other
things.
And
he, I think it hurts him that, she's getting involved in all of this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it's really fair for him to be like, well, I guess in a way, I don't know that it's fair for Iris to be, I don't know. He was like, well, I've put all the stuff in my family behind me, I want you to as well. Which, it's a lie. But at the same time, Iris, I think Iris, being his friend and knowing how affectionate he was, should respect his feelings about that.
You'd think so.
Yeah, because, if I were the friend pushing all this stuff, I'd want to respect his feelings. And not stay away from it.
But I guess for her now, it's in vendetta to figure out who this is.
Yeah. Clearly, she's getting a little bit of a crush on him. Yeah. So
they may be that whole Iris him getting together like in the comics probably might just end up happening anyways.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we think of Grodd?
Grodd.
I'm not familiar with
Grodd,
Flash comics or
Grodd
whatever.
Is very much
just the idea of a live action show, like a talking animal or whatever, or
he's super intelligent,
sentient animal.
No, that makes no sense. He's a super intelligent gorilla that has telekinetic psychic powers. That's who he is. He's been
sounds ridiculous.
Genetically enhanced.
And these shows, they do like to embrace the ridiculous sides of DC, but
well, it's not ridiculous. It's one of the main comic villains.
Well, oh wait, it's a villain?
Yeah, Grodd is a villain, man.
Oh.
He's a gorilla that.
How on earth are you like a villain?
Grodd?
I don't know.
He's a gorilla.
How bad? It can't be that hard to take a gorilla down.
He is super intelligent and super strong, genetically enhanced, telekinetic gorilla.
Gorilla. Okay.
Yes.
Gorillas
by themselves can take out men with one swipe, just like a big bear.
Well, okay, so in the movie, the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, the talking raccoon.
Yeah, Rocket Raccoon.
That was good because they had really good, actors and, a whole budget that this show doesn't. But I don't know. I just feel like on a show like this, a super intelligent gorilla is just going to look ridiculous.
I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah, it seems ridiculous.
Because, I don't know, it's interesting to bring animals into things because, when the Spider-Man also has animal villains, the lizard and such.
Yeah, but those are humans who become sort of lizard.
They become full lizard. They don't become looking. They are a lizard or an alligator.
Like an actual lizard or an actual alligator.
Well, yeah, they don't look
like them. Yeah, but this
way.
is an actual gorilla.
Well, that's what Grodd is.
Yeah.
So they may make somebody in a suit, which would be really weird. I don't know how they're going to pull this one off.
I just don't see how they could.
Or even if they bring him in.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny little sight gag, like the Grodd cage, but actually falling through with it.
Well, we'll see what happens if it brings up in the next couple episodes.
Okay, I'm surprised. Harrison has killed people before, so I'm really surprised he didn't kill General Eiling.
Well, he can't do that.
Well,
I guess he could.
No, but he killed that Simon guy when he wanted to go after, the Flash, and General Eiling comes in and announces he wants the Flash. So why didn't he kill him?
I guess he could have. I was waiting for him to. When he walked in and said "get out," and he just stood there, I was waiting for him to stand up and just slice him open. It may be. I mean, they were partners, so there may be some connection there. Mm-hmm. But they each have something on each other because they worked genetic experiments on animals and people.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he says later, at the end of the episode, what does he say? He's like, I can end you and not just your career. So he's basically saying, hey, I can kill you if I really needed to. Mm-hmm. And I think General Eiling knows the count. He knows he can't do much. What are you going to do to a crippled scientist? Mm-hmm. I think Harrison's got to get rid of him eventually.
Yeah.
Because he knows too much, and that's what he tried to do with Plastique, and that didn't work out too well.
Yeah. So. Poor Plastique. She would have been. She would be a cool part of the team if they kept around and taught her how to control her powers. She would have been a cool asset to the team.
It'd be interesting because with that type of power, the bomb power, she may learn to put the explosive impact on the bombs, or anything she touches. Mm-hmm. Like a pebble, she could just put a dynamite charge, or she takes a car and she puts 10 tons of dynamite and blows things up.
And when Caitlin handed her those gloves, I was like, oh yeah, she's gonna join the team or whatever. I thought it was maybe heading that way, but no.
I thought they were gonna give her gloves to protect, so she can touch stuff now and become a regular human being.
Yeah.
Oh well, she'll never have to worry about self-defense then.
Yeah.
She'll be
she won't have to now. She's dead.
Well,
sad.
I guess that solves the problem too.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a good episode though. I feel like it's a bit step forward. I mean.
Yeah.
After Felicity. Oh, I loved Caitlin's line when she was standing over Eddie. She was like, "Oh, do I sound like Felicity?" That was a perfect line.
I think we found a little more about Harrison's backstory too.
Did we?
Yeah, because we find out that he was that scientist genetically modifying things with Mr. General, which it was never talked about before.
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
He's very manipulative, as we see.
Oh,
with him.
Yeah.
He's he just talks to Plastique, and she's just kind of okay, cool,
yeah, he talks Plastique into, killing someone.
That's what you do with
I mean, I think part of her really just wanted to just get rid of General Eiling because of all the stuff he did to her. But, that wasn't very difficult for him to her into killing someone.
How many other people can he manipulate, or has he manipulated with that power he's got?
Yeah, oh. And she tried to tell Barry that he tried to tell, but she died. Planting a seed of doubt in him, maybe a little.
I don't know if he realized it, but he may bring it up to Cisco or the other gal.
Yeah.
Which may start something. But I think that's much more of a long-term timeline for that.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing with Harrison. I was afraid when I saw promos for Harrison, I was like, ugh, a Professor X knockoff.
No.
But,
I didn't think that. I thought, we'll see. He'll end up turning one way or the other sooner or later.
I mean, I was excited for this show. It looked really, cute.
Cute?
Yeah.
It's the Flash. He's not a cutie person.
Yeah, well, this Grant Gustin, playing this kind of adorable little, superhero would have been a nice change, but... Man, when I saw that promo, I was like, oh man, it's a Professor X knockoff, it's a Detective Lance knockoff, it's a Laurel knockoff.
Man.
Oh man, those two characters are just going to be comic relief, and they're whatever.
The Flash is not small.
Yeah.
He's not the Atom or anything like that. I don't know, I thought Harrison was pretty much going to be, somebody who is the anti-hero to the Flash.
Yeah.
That's what I see, and that's what it's seemingly becoming.
I thought it was going to be a bit more of a jerk Professor X. But I've been pleasantly surprised by all of it. And also, which is why I'm still, I don't, not too excited about Iris's character, but I'm reserving judgment for now on it because I really couldn't stand Arrow in season 1, but now I really enjoy it. So
you just jumped reviews there.
Yeah, so I'm and it Flash is the same team as Arrow, so I feel like once they really get their it's still only episode 5.
Yeah, it's
so
pretty
once
early.
They get their bearings with the characters and what they want to do, I think plans change with things like once they figure out who has chemistry, what characters have chemistry with each other,
who's going to be a goner and who sticks around.
And once they figure that out, it'll change a bit more. So I'm reserving my judgment about Iris, who I feel like is a big problem character.
Yeah, it'll pan out.
Yeah, so it was a good episode overall.
Yeah,
very good episode. I think those are all the major plot points.
I think we caught that.
Yeah.
I don't think we missed anything there.
Yeah.
So off to the Arrow then.
Yeah. Ooh boy.
Got some interesting tidbits to that one.
Roy is not Sarah's killer.
Yep, he's just having dreams.
Oh, I'm actually disappointed about that. We said in last episode, if they were like, ooh, Roy's the killer, and then took it back, it'd be a bit of a cop-out. And it really was a cop-out.
Yeah, it was. It was just like, hey, he's in for this episode, and he's gone.
I mean, Roy does have to deal with the weight of killing that cop now, but I don't know. It was like that. Roy has been on the sidelines so much this season. And then after last week, I was like, oh man, that was intentional, and then came outside, and then BAM! But, now he's back to the sidelines. Because, I don't want Roy to be the killer, but at the same time,
it was
a perfect way to draw him out of the sidelines into the central plot. So, I'm kind of sad that they didn't go that route.
I think they brought him in, and now... He may go back to the sidelines, or he could
Probably.
He may just loop back in every episode.
They really just don't seem too interested in developing.
But they pushed Arsenal on him.
Oh,
that title.
That's
so
true.
They may go down that route and make him.
I guess so.
Arsenal.
Have him go dark or whatever. Because I think Arsenal is a villain. I think Arsenal is like a darker character.
I'm not too sure about that. We're going to look that one up.
Because I feel like they were saying that, is like there was this whole thing where they were like tease, where in interviews were like, we're not sure if Rory's going to become this villain Arsenal or the good guy Red Arrow because of the Mirakuru stuff.
It seems to be very latent in him. Yeah. Because when he gets angry, he's able to channel it. It looks like.
Yeah.
So that may be what they're going towards, making him Arsenal, whether he's going to be a direct villain or just somebody who just kind of roams around the city, just doing his own thing.
Yeah. That seems like it would be more Thea's thing.
What? That she's roaming around the city?
Not having anything to do with the Arrow team. Yeah.
I guess. I mean...
Well... Thea's got a lot of reasons to be angry at Oliver and not want to join his team.
That's
whereas
true.
Roy has always just really always been really grateful to Oliver and the Arrow for giving him direction in life because he had no direction before he joined any Arrow.
So I mean, it could go either way, though. You probably think it's gonna go.
Maybe Roy will become Arsenal, and Thea will join the team and take up the Red Hood stuff, and take up the Red Arrow.
And then you think she'll split off?
Yeah.
Because she's angry at Oliver?
I don't know. Maybe at the end of the season, after Malcolm's whatever, she decides to join the team, she'll take on the Red Arrow stuff at the end of the season.
I think there might be that, if not earlier.
Yeah. Man, I am really disappointed Roy was in the killer. Oh my gosh, Roy won a fight! He actually won a fight. He didn't get knocked out by a tranquilizer after the first flip. And he uses parkour this time for the initial attack. Yeah, and it actually worked. Roy was very good. I honestly, so I really liked the Wildcat stuff, this stuff. I really liked that they had Wildcat already be a vigilante. But I felt like the story with the sidekick was way too a little too neat, the clumsy thing. Really just too clumsy. The way they were trying to, relate the two stories.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, immediately when they started talking about an apprentice who went rogue, I was like, oh, this is
There's
a
Roy.
parable for Roy.
Yeah.
Of
So, like,
course,
they're not going to let him go.
They weren't particularly subtle. The writer, not particularly subtle writing. But it was nice to, it was really nice to, have the Wildcat thing brought in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know much about the Wildcat, but I'm really glad that that he's already been a superhero or whatever and done all that.
Well, I don't know if we can call him a superhero in any
Vigilante,
capacity.
whatever.
Not all vigilantes are superheroes. Some of them do it for their own selfish means.
Oh my gosh, okay. Oliver drives me nuts. He is so judgmental.
And very controlling.
I know, and it's completely ridiculous. Okay, this guy,
here's the rant.
Remember in season 1 where, like, Detective Lance, like, showed Roy, like, the morgue, and we're like, this guy has a 26 person body count? Okay, someone with a 26 person body count does not need, should not be, like, getting judgmental about a guy who, like, beat up a drug dealer. No, and it wasn't even him.
It was, Isaac.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, this guy, like, lost his temper, beat up a drug dealer. You systematically hunted down, like, the wealthiest 1% of the city and put arrows in all of them.
Well, one man's fun times, another man's, boring.
Oh my goodness. So, oh my gosh, and more infantilizing Laurel.
Before you rant on that, before you do that, one very entertaining thing I saw in that fight with Ted was the arrow glove, which was straight out of a cartoon. It was like, I put it on there, and I'm knocking you out.
That was like a freaking Wile E. Coyote cartoon. That's like a gag out of a Looney Tunes cartoon. It was so funny. Oh my gosh.
I didn't think that was even the work.
Oh. Yeah, that was perfect. That was very clever staging. Very well done. Whoever was in charge of that arrow on the arrow team, very well done.
Yes, thank you for that.
Double thumbs up. Very well done.
No.
Yeah.
Good laugh at that one.
Oh, yeah, we both did. Okay.
Off to your little rant.
Laurel is pushing 30! Yes. Laurel, she's pushing 30. She has a law school degree. She's, been through all this stuff. She's taken self-defense classes. She's taking self-defense classes. She's been through all kinds of, arrow junk. Every 2 episodes she, winds up in some kind of fight or trouble. I am so sick of her getting infantilized and judged and lectured by all the men in her life. Oh my gosh.
She's got to get some new friends.
I know. Oliver.
Everybody's putting her down. Doesn't let her do anything.
When Oliver was doing that, well, I don't see you as helpless. I just want to protect you. She should have been like,
yeah, you do.
I'm a grown woman. Shut up. Leave me alone. Quit babysitting me.
It's just, I'm independent and I know what I'm doing.
I know. It just drives me nuts. Like, she's so infantilized by, like, all the men in her life. All the time. Every episode, for, like, the last 3 or 4 episodes, Oliver has lectured her about something, or Lance has lectured her about something, about her choices in life, and Lance, and Lance, he also lectured her in this one too, about, hanging out with Ted, and it drove me just nuts.
Well, they only want the best for her.
She is a grown woman. It is her choice, and she keeps constantly saying, it's my choice what I want to do with my life. And they're just like, no. You should listen to me. I know what's better for you.
Yeah.
Even though Oliver is, Oliver's no paragon of good life choices.
Mm-hmm.
And it just drives me nuts all the time.
Yeah.
Watching it. It's like, this is not a wait. Oh my gosh. And her crashing that car and then knocking herself. That was so embarrassing. I was embarrassed for her.
That was very laughable because the amount of time she had, she could have easily just went down the street and parked and not hit 2 cars.
I know.
That car exploded a bit too easily when Oliver pulled her out. It's like, we're walking away, boom, explosion. And that was a lot bigger than it should have been.
Oliver can be the hero, not he can be the cool guy walking away from the explosion with a girl in his arms.
Yeah, he's not supposed to look. But I think all that's gonna
terrible way to write a leading woman. It just really is.
But they may be. I mean, it is unfortunate, but they may be just using that as her driving force.
Yeah, I think
to
so.
Black Canary. And if you look things up, I mean, if you keep up with it, you will see that the producers have made a complete Black Canary outfit.
Yeah.
So she is coming in.
Yeah,
and that's why her hair is turning more blonde. If you notice the little things.
The thing about making that choice is, it just really makes me cringe whenever her and Oliver are in the same room because it's always the same routine, and it really makes me dislike Oliver. And it seems like, his whole part of his whole job now is like lecturing everyone else on their life choices.
Yeah, that is a bit of. I hope that when Laura becomes a Black Canary, like she fully takes on that personality, that she has a fight with Oliver.
Yeah.
Like as the Black Canary.
Oh yeah.
Says, I am your equal. I have great fighting skills as you do. I don't think that's going to happen, but she might whack him a couple times in the face.
He needs to embarrass him a little bit. I don't know. It just drives me nuts because it's the same routine, and it just really makes me dislike Oliver.
It perpetuates in every episode. That's the other thing.
Every single episode.
Whether it's her father or Oliver.
Same song and dance, same thing. And it feels like no one's ever going to treat her like a grown-up. Like, in season 1, like, he was constantly Lance was constantly lecturing Laura about her life choices. And she would constantly have to defend herself. And there was no point where she was like, where he was treating her like she was just like, it felt like she was being treated like a young college kid or whatever. When she was pushing 30 and all these characters were. And it's the same thing here. And it's like there's no point where she's like, I'm a grown woman, back the up, and leave me alone. And she really needs to do that.
There's no censoring on YouTube.
Well,
but yeah, I think they're doing a
swear.
They're doing a
I'm
poor
a lady.
Yes, ladies don't swear. I think they're doing very poor on that point where they aren't giving her that firm foundation where she's all like, hey, it's my life. Don't tell me what to do.
Constantly having to defend herself, constantly, to all these people who have no right to be making judgment calls. Oliver is the last one who should be making judgment calls about her life choices. Like,
yeah, but he feels like he can because it's for her safety.
I know.
Safety trumps all, according to a lot of people.
Well, then he should never. Then Oliver should stay away from Laurel because he's the Arrow. He has a higher body count than Ted does. He has enemies who would love to have used Laurel in the past, like Slade. So by that logic, he should be staying away from her. But he doesn't have to. He can, run around and, get in contact with her all the time. And she can, come into the Arrow place whenever she wants. And come into the Arrow cave whenever she wants. And he can go over and ask her for favors whenever he wants. They know there's danger in that. But
it's a very lopsided relationship there.
I know.
I'm really hoping they change that.
Which is just very Oliver. He, makes the judgment calls. And Ted, when he said, playing judge and jury messes with your head, and it really does.
For Oliver, he has become the judge and jury for everybody in his life.
Yeah, it really has.
I think the only... Has anybody not become or has not been judged and under jury from Oliver?
I don't think so.
I don't think there's anybody who's not been under scrutiny by him.
Not Felicity's, a bit.
But not as much as the other characters.
He gave her a lot of flack when Barry showed up.
Yeah, but that kind of died out pretty quickly, though.
Yeah. Well, even when she was going to visit him too much for his liking, he gave her a hard time about it.
It's like, well... At least Felicity has a much more independent foundation to her than Laura does by far.
Oh yeah, I think she would definitely tell him to back off.
I think Felicity would very much be like, "Hey, stop this," and stop giving me crap.
Yeah, and
you have enough crap on your own plateau.
When he gave her a hard time about going to visit Barry too much, she mouthed off to him over. I don't know if you remember that. Mm-hmm. But he mouthed off to him.
I think Oliver needs somebody, like whether it's Laura or somebody else on its team, to say, "Hey, we are independent individuals. We're doing what we want. Don't tell us what we need to do unless we're in a group attack or thing like that."
Yeah. Oh. But yeah. I mean, even Sarah, after a while, she was willing to go along with whatever Oliver said.
Yeah.
Too. And that's why I like Thea so much right now, because she refuses to let him tell her what to do.
Well, she is the embodiment, at least in the show, of the independent, do my own thing woman.
Yeah.
She's not letting anybody tell her what to do.
Yeah. Except Malcolm.
Well, Malcolm hasn't said anything to her just yet.
Oh, yeah,
She's just
true.
kind of camping out in an apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, so that just really drove me nuts. Really, it was really bad throughout the whole episode that he was just constantly getting on about his life choices. And it's like, tell this guy to shut up. Tell him to leave you alone. Tell him to shut up and leave you alone.
Maybe all the bad life choice guys should get together and just have a circle talk.
I don't know. So I'm just really, really sick. I'm glad that she did not listen to Oliver and that she went back and she specifically told Ted, I want you to teach me how to be a vigilante so I can avenge my sister's death, and was direct about what she wanted and got it.
Yeah. Which I think she's going to learn that and say, hey, this is the way I should be doing things. I should have been doing things all this time. Let me become Black Canary. I'm becoming a vigilante. I'll meet up with Oliver whenever and beat him up.
I just really hope when that day comes, there's no junk about how she should learn, about how she should, get Oliver's permission to do it or whatever. Because I feel like there's going to be this whole big deal about Oliver finally giving his permission, and I'm so sick of that.
Well, that'll come down when she goes off as Black Canary. She does some vigilante work. Green Arrow shows up because he does show up.
Yeah.
She, does her own thing. She survives, and she holds her own. And then they have the talk at the end, and he's like, well, I was wrong. Here's my permission, even though you truly don't need it. Here it is.
I don't care if he gives his permission or not, because I'm just so sick of him being, the judge and, having the final say over who does what in his immediate circle.
He can't let things go haywire,
Ugh.
He can't have a little bit of randomness in his life.
Ugh. Yeah, because he's a freak and control freak. So the flashbacks this episode, moving on. So the flashbacks this episode were alright.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the thing. That woman, the Chinese woman.
The Asian woman.
That Asian woman who helps Oliver when she was like, stay away from my son, and then thanking later after he helped her meditate and remember where that envelope was, and she was like, well, if you want to thank me, then get out of our lives as soon as possible. And I'm just like, okay, woman, if you don't want him, it's not Oliver's fault that he's there. He doesn't want to be there. Don't get into bed with Amanda Waller if you don't want to have to house weird Americans.
Yeah, but she had no choice, though. It's because her husband is in on that. She just has the whole side of it.
Blame him. Don't blame Oliver and be mean to Oliver.
Well, you can't yell at your husband. You got to yell at the guests in the house. That's causing all the problems.
Of course. Of course. That annoyed me, too. It's like, don't blame him. Don't blame him.
I guess they're just worked up because they're finally getting out of it now. So
yeah, so hopefully they'll both probably die.
Or they'll just leave the whole timeline.
Yeah. So I don't care about these flashbacks.
Nah, they're kind of a little bit pointless.
They're boring. I mean, season 2, the flashbacks, I really ignored them, and then they turned out to be really important when Slade showed up.
Yep.
So they were retroactively very important and interesting, but because when they really picked up, when they got to the main point. So maybe it'll all come around to this big deal.
Maybe the Asian couple will come back.
They do a really good job of threading these things, and you don't think they matter, but then they really matter. So we'll see how that goes. But
what do we think of this Cupid character?
It seems so dumb.
I don't know. I can't know
really,
if
really
they've pulled that from the comics. I'll have to look this up. Or if they just made her up on the fly. Because at first I thought she said, okay, Cupid, stupid. I was like, okay, she's just saying that as a phrase. But then you see her arrows and their hearts. And I'm like, this is really dumb.
It is really dumb. Okay,
and then she's trying to shoot everybody.
Either two things. Either A, this whole thing has filler episode written all over it.
True.
Or something really, really big happens next week, so much that they're not spoiling it, and this is the B plot. So that's what they're putting in the promos.
Yeah, it could go either way.
Yeah.
But do we think Mrs. Cupid is part of Ra's al Ghul, or just her own independent little vigilante?
I don't know.
But she's got a bow and arrow, so she could go either way.
It seems... I don't know. It just seems really dumb.
I don't like it. No, I don't like this Cupid thing going.
Maybe it's dumb on. Maybe Ra's al Ghul sent her, and she looks dumb on purpose to lull him into a false sense of security.
Really?
And keep him distracted while they do something.
Well, it seems like, I don't know, but on the promo, it seems like she has her own agenda or something, drawing people in and shooting them with. She
seems to want to date him.
You get that vibe, huh?
That from what the promos made it look like, I think she wanted to date him or wanted to, I don't know.
So she's a Green Arrow stalker.
I don't know.
And she has gotten Cupid because she has some weird ulterior agenda motive.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is dumb.
It just looks so dumb.
I'm hoping that's not an actual character in the DC universe.
I don't know. DC has a storied history and a lot of really dumb things have happened during that time.
In both universes they do, but
yeah.
I'm really hoping Cupid is not an actual character.
Why?
Because
it's just this show really does try to keep itself grounded, and that this is a really dumb Smallville filler episode kind of character.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they would do that.
For just that point?
Yeah, so maybe, filler. I don't know, filler, or they have like 5 different plots going on right now. They don't need a filler episode.
Yeah, so maybe it is leading up to something much larger.
Yeah, so maybe they are covering what's going on next week.
She's a messenger for somebody else.
I don't know, it seems dumb.
Yeah.
So, no Thea this week.
Nope, she's just hanging out at the bar or club or whatever she's doing.
Okay, so does she not? The thing is, Thea owns the club now, and it was a really good idea to have the Arrow Cave in the club in season 1, back when Oliver owned it, because it gave him an excuse to be there all the time, so no one would notice. But now, then Thea owned it. Then it went into Thea's hands, and now it's back in Thea's hands. So doesn't she notice those people going in and out of the basement all the time, coming in and out?
Is it really the same building, though?
I thought that it was. It was like in the basement.
I didn't think it was. I thought she has the club back, but it's a different building.
Yeah, but no, I don't think so, because there was. No, I don't think so, because I think it's the same space from what I've seen in episodes.
They're also going down the opposite door to get in that building. They're no longer taking that stairwell, which leads up directly to the club.
Yeah.
They're always taking the elevator or that side room.
Yeah.
So Oliver might have said, "Hey, can I have the basement?" And she said, "Yeah."
Oh, maybe.
Or it's locked and she hasn't bothered opening it yet.
Yeah. Well, he was living there, though. He lives there, though, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the money for an apartment, so he just put a cot or a bed.
So that may be the arrangement is, hey, I live down here, don't bother me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Maybe she'll come down one day. Just by chance.
Mm-hmm. No, well, the door.
The door's ajar, so
yeah,
she'll
the
come
door
down.
is there's that door that's locked that she can't get open, remember?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is.
Maybe she'll get curious and like, I'm going to open this door.
Yeah, maybe.
That'll change things.
Yeah, no Malcolm either.
Which is nice.
I really am disappointed that Roy wasn't the killer.
Why?
I
mean, it's interesting to make him the killer. Why do you want him being the killer?
Because...
Just so he comes back into the timeline?
Yeah, because they hadn't really done anything with Roy, like, the entire season. And I was starting to wonder if they just weren't interested in developing the character, didn't know what to do with him. And so I was wondering if he was just going to become a side character. And then last week it was like, oh man, this is a perfect way to draw him into the central plot. So Roy will actually have something to do. But
he's going to jail. We would have ended him anyways.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Well, the thing is, he can't really be... Well, the thing is, he can't really be held responsible for what he did under the effects of the Mirakuru.
True.
He went on, like, this huge rampage, and, he was... it's like someone who has, like, a psychotic break, and they hurt someone while they're, they're out of their minds. Like, they're not held responsible for that because they don't go to prison.
But they're put in a psych ward.
Yeah, and they're, and they're given drugs or whatever, but they don't go to prison. They're not charged with anything.
I'm pretty sure I'd rather be in prison than in a psych ward. It's a little crazy in there. But I think if he's convicted, say the whole episode was a different outcome, he was actually the killer, what are they going to do? Just ostracize him and say, hey, you got to leave? There's no way they can keep him around.
Yeah. And that's why, that's the whole thing with the episode where where he, asked Oliver, like, don't abandon me. I don't want to turn out like that. Like the way Isaac did.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just feel like it would have been a really good way to bring him into the plot more. And so, what are they going to do now?
Go back to have him being a sideline thing, or
Yeah.
since he knows that he has the latent, Kuru is just.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't?
No, he thought that he did because he killed, and that drove him to kill Sarah.
But I thought we see it when he's fighting with Isaac.
No, he's just really well trained.
Disappointing.
Yeah, he's just really good at fighting. For once, all of a sudden. He wasn't good at fighting last time.
Well, he had to take a nap, and then he'd be much better. That's how it usually works.
Still like the funniest
Have you never...
epic fail scene. Oh my gosh.
Or at least funny scene.
Oh, that was
I think that's on par with the arrow punch. And hilarity.
That was just...
And unexpectedness, too.
If I, in real life, had been in that fight, had been like there watching, I'd just like burst out laughing when I saw Roy go down.
Like, God, your own
if
fault,
I
man.
were Thea, I would have been so distressed. And I saw Roy go down. I were there. I just started laughing.
I was like,
so hard.
You suck.
Oh man, it was like, oh, that's why I broke up.
You can dodge an arrow and a bullet, but you can't dodge a tranquilizer.
My boyfriend's lame.
He gets tranquilized.
Oh man. Yeah. So what are they gonna do with him? Is he just gonna go out and like he's gonna angst out about the cop he killed probably?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. But
like, what's it gonna drive him to? What's that? Like, what's can you really do with that except watch him feel guilty or whatever?
Maybe he does his own thing.
Yeah.
Or they may just loop him in and out of things now.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's the only thing they really can do unless they really involve him.
Is hang out with Thea.
Well.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be something.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I was hoping maybe they draw him in. You use Thea to draw him in now, but that doesn't really seem to be the case.
No, because she has no connection to any of this.
Yeah, she has her own stuff going on. So I really don't know how they're going to draw Roy into the plot more.
Yeah, I don't know what they... I don't...
He left Timo for this.
I like him in this better.
Still bitter about that. Really screwed the dynamics of the show when he left.
That's a whole nother rant here.
Yeah. He left being the fourth guy on Teen Wolf to being like this seventh lead on the show.
Yeah, kind of degraded himself.
Yeah.
He went from a mystical, supernatural being to...
In the beginning, it really didn't seem like that in season 1, but they've added so many characters with so much more compelling and talented characters and actors. But,
maybe that's why. Maybe, he may just go to... He's going to go to Central City now. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. That's just... Well, the thing is, like, okay, and not to be mean, Colton Haynes... not the best actor.
We're going to go down this route,
all right. Well, if we're just reviewing the show, I mean,
we might
performances are going to come up. Well, okay. Well, he's just...
He's
kind of a one-trick pony. If you'll notice, if you've seen other things he's in, he's always really good at playing this kind of douchey guy who can kind of be intensely emotional. Like, that's basically, Jackson's character.
Yeah, that's true. And he gets this power which he doesn't intentionally want.
Yeah.
He uses it to kill somebody.
The character he played on Teen Wolf is very similar. There's this douchey kind of guy at first who's, just kind of kind of can get intensely emotional or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when the time calls for it, and Roy's kind of the same way. He was a bit more season 1. He's not so douchey now, but still.
And they both were able to grab a power of some sort, use it for 2 or 3 episodes, and then it was taken away, and they kind of went back to
being the fifth or sixth
fifth
lead
wheel or something. Yeah.
So I don't know. He's kind of a one-trick pony, like acting wise. So I don't know. Maybe that's why they kind of keep him sidelined. I don't know.
Because they can use him as
he's not, complex as, say, someone like Felicity.
Mhm.
The actress who plays Felicity is phenomenal, really.
Yeah.
And she could have chemistry with like a wet paper bag.
Just about everybody.
Yeah.
Since she even crossed shows and she was able to.
Yeah. But Colton Haynes is not so great. Gets the job done, but nothing. So I sometimes wonder if maybe that's why you don't see him very much. Is just the writers aren't interested in writing to him.
They just don't have anything for him.
Yeah.
Because
they really don't. And Willow, and put him up next to Stephen Amell. Put him against it's really improved a lot since season 1. But even though I really don't like what they're doing with Oliver's character right now, and take him against like a compelling character like John Diggle, who has all this stuff with Argus going on. Take him up against like Felicity, who's so great and has so much going on. Against Sarah, even though Sarah's dead, even though Laurel, even though I hate what they do with Laurel, but up against Will Holland, who's been great as Thea, and Malcolm, and all these different characters they brought in who were so really compelling, great, and these great actors, and they just who are you gonna devote your time to?
Roy is not a character, it seems, that is good at playing a long timeline.
Yeah.
Like Arrow has a timeline which stretches for anywhere from 2 to 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We figure out things as well. In the Flash, just to make a comparison, we see something new happening. Everybody's involved. I mean, I know it's early, but that's where Colton Haynes' character is most able to be used. Is in that type of there's something for you to do every episode because we need you to.
Yeah, well, okay, so The Flash, there has a problem where there's all this excitement and stuff going on, but only one person can come out and can go out and, be in the action while all the rest of the characters have to sit on the sidelines and cheer them on. Arrow has this problem where, something happens and only Felicity stays, but everyone else goes out, so you have to find something for everyone to do out, with the action.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have that
you have to
problem.
figure out... So you have to balance all these different people who have all these different action plot lines. So it's like the opposite problem.
Yeah, it does.
Where there's not enough, too much for one person to do, not enough for everyone else to do, whereas there's like too much for everyone else to do, and not enough for like this one, where there's not enough for everyone else to do. Because, they've really bloated their superhero, their active members roster.
I guess when it comes down to comic heroes and such, usually the most they do, unless they're grouped like the Justice League or the Avengers, it's pairs of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's rarely more than a pair of people or a single person. And I think Arrow has come to that problem where they've put 7 people, or it seems that way, on a team, and it doesn't work. The Flash, he's his own independent person anyways. He usually doesn't have a partner.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, if more people didn't get out there, Oliver is just... Well, having Oliver go out and do all this stuff solo, it just wouldn't work for too long.
No,
because the nature of Oliver's character, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, if it was just him every episode, we'd just see arrows flying at people, and we'd name the character.
Yeah, and
Oliver
the episode would be
is
over. Too cold, at least a little too cold, a little too hard, and unrelatable.
Unrelatable.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, well, just. The character is just too cold and hard, and if it were just him, he'd be going to some really dark places. Like all the other characters have to be there to pull Oliver back.
Mm-hmm.
From the darker parts of him. I think that's why all the other characters are necessary to be out in the field with him. Yeah. So. I think that's about it.
I think we covered.
Yeah.
We covered just about every aspect of the episode.
Roy sucks again.
Unfortunately.
Oliver still sucks where Laurel is concerned. Laurel still sucks where everything is concerned.
But she's getting better.
She is.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely. She needs to grow a backbone and tell Oliver to go away.
Maybe. I read this online somewhere. They were like, Laurel was affected by the blast in Central City. And now she's a metahuman. and she learns how to use the sonic canary call.
Ooh.
And I was like, that would be great.
Perfect.
Because then she'd have
perfect.
something that no one else has. She has a power that Oliver really couldn't counter. And it would give her that backbone.
Oh my gosh, maybe will be the plot line of the big crossovers over episode.
Did we just unlock something, maybe?
Yeah, that would be perfect.
There it is.
Perfect.
It's a spoiler, unintentionally. Unofficially. We found it out.
We figured it out all on our own.
Yes.
Got you, Arrow
Don't
team.
censor us for this.
Yeah, that would be perfect. That would be really cool.
Really quite interesting.
That would be a perfect way to propel the Canary story forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, because realistically, Laurel, she may be getting better in train, but she does not have the years of training of experience that everyone else does.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, technically Roy doesn't either, but he did have the Mirakuru.
Which probably enhanced his skill set pretty quickly.
And he'd been like this street fighter his whole life.
Which helps.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's pretty much what goes on. Not much of the main plot line with Malcolm in the league. Nothing at all with that. That might pick up next week.
Yeah, probably.
So this one was a breather in that sense, but it was more of a, character plot line. So, yeah, good episode.
Yep,
Another good episode.
Both of them.
Well, I'm disappointed about some of it, but still very enjoyable. Still a very enjoyable hour of television. Mm-hmm. So we will
see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. What grade would you give this?
We're doing grades now? Ooh, I love this. We got a rubric
why not?
too.
Oh, I don't know.
We're gonna have to go back and watch the other ones.
I'd give it a B.
Yeah.
I'm still not happy about Roy getting sidelined out of the plot again.
So an overall grade here.
Yeah,
for the episode.
overall, yeah. Still not happy about Roy getting out, and I'm still sick of, and this is like the 4th episode of Laurel getting lectured by the men in her life, and it's driving me nuts. So
it's been driving nuts all season.
Yeah, and it should stop.
I think I'll give it a B also. Yeah.
All right. Well, see you guys.
See you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.